You recently joined a lot of other academics. You signed a letter demanding that elite institutions and universities stop accepting money from fossil fuel companies. Is that correct?
This is correct.
The Murphy family of Murphy Oil and the Deming family of Murphy Oil have recently given Tulane $25 million. Have you called on Tulane to give that money back?
Well,
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, and welcome to this episode of This Week in DUMBmocracy, the show that seeks out the dumbest newsmakers of the week and presents them to you for your viewing pleasure. If this is your first time looking at this show, coming to our channel, we're so happy to have you, of course. But boy, did you pick a great episode to watch for the first time. And for those of you who are returning, you're going to see probably my favorite clip that I've made so far. It's my favorite because it involves probably my favorite politician in government today, and that's Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Man, he is just witty as all get out. He's brilliant, and he's not afraid to call out buffoons. And that's what this clip is, folks. This is a clip from yesterday's Senate Budget Committee hearing discussing climate change's impact on infrastructure. Senator Kennedy is going to be questioning a professor from Tulane who really holds himself out to be so much more impressive than he actually turns out to be. And Senator Kennedy, through his wit, his intellect, his preparation, exposes this buffoon in a most satisfying and funny way. But before we start, please be sure, like, comment, share the show, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. I'm going to have so much fun with this one.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Governor. Professor Kennan, you teach at Tulane?
yes, sir, I do. I have that privilege.
And you have your own website, kennanclimate.com, is that right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And you describe yourself on your website as a globally recognized thought leader. Is that correct?
Wow.
Okay. And you give paid speeches, do you?
On occasion, I do.
You have your own agent, I believe, according to your website, Lee Bureau.
This is correct.
And how much do you charge per speech?
It varies depending on the audience, the amount of...
Okay, just tell me that this guy isn't the prototypical intellectual superior of the masses that we see in movies all the time in any type of, comedy about college or anything like that. Global thought leader. Okay there, buddy.
preparation work that goes and the amount of follow-through.
The
Usually,
last paid speech you gave, how much did you receive?
I'm happy to follow up on it.
You don't remember?
If you want. I do not.
Do you give that money to Tulane?
I do not.
You keep it?
Yes, this is outside of my capacity as a
Right,
professor,
right.
as is
Now,
standard
you,
course.
you recently sent a letter.
Just so pretentious.
You recently joined a lot of other academics. You signed a letter demanding that elite institutions and universities stop accepting money from fossil fuel companies.
Oh, that dirty money.
This is correct.
You consider Tulane an elite university?
I would like to think that we have a high standard of excellence in our education and our research.
I would like to think that we are pretty good. My God, the man is just screaming to be smacked down.
Okay. Well, the Murphy family of Murphy Oil and the Deming family of Murphy Oil have recently given Tulane $25 million. Have you called on Tulane to give that money back?
Well, it's not, they didn't give that money to my unit or the department or school that I work
Have you
in.
called on Tulane to give that money back, or you think that's okay for them to keep it?
Uh-oh.
Their prerogative, not mine.
Okay. But you think, yet you just signed a letter saying that all elite universities should refuse fossil fuel money. Did you put a footnote in there and say, except my own?
Well, what I'd like to say, Senator, is that I believe it raises a conflict of interest for those that research climate change that are supported by the fossil fuel
Yeah,
industry.
but then why don't you ask Tulane to give the $25 million back?
Well, I think in the context, if that money were to be used to support climate research, information, disinformation, or whatever it may be, then that may be an appropriate conflict of interest. But I think in the context of which
You don't
Tulane is
see the
doing,
hypocrisy here?
it is a hypocrisy, and those that may read and interpret it as such. I see it-
Maybe it's like Washington. If there weren't double standards, there wouldn't be standards at all.
And now you see why I love this man so much. What an epic takedown. Folks, this is the exact type of hypocrite that I discuss extensively in my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, available right now at Amazon, at Barnes & Nobles, and other online bookstores. Now, I just want to read a quick passage here from the book talking about hypocrites and what sets them apart from just people who act hypocritically. There is a difference here. So, the hypocrite has no need to relieve any internal tension created by the inconsistency of their words and actions because they simply don't care anymore and therefore revel in the freedom from such bounds. This is an important distinction that distills our definition of hypocrisy beyond the common everyday usage of the word. The more benign buffoons discussed in previous chapters, and we've seen them here as well on the show, the ones who are just overconfident or they have a shocking lack of self-awareness, those types of more benign buffoons may act unconsciously in a hypocritical way, but recognize their buffoonery and probably still care enough to feel contrite. Moreover, one may act like a hypocrite and simply be a troubled individual who recognizes right from wrong, but nonetheless possesses a compulsion towards the latter. While both have acted hypocritically, neither is the hypocrite. It is not hyperbole to say that hypocrites, if left unchecked and allowed to increase in number, pose an existential threat to American society. Because, as I said, they simply don't care anymore. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show. But oh, my friends, Senator Kennedy is not done. There's still some hypocrisy to expose here. And this is just beautiful.
Let me ask you this. You also participated in another article here criticizing Houston for building new buildings and McMansions. And you said, I'm going to read your quote. I don't want to misquote you, Professor. That means we have to change our consumer preferences. You could have a super efficient, energy efficient mega mansion in Houston or the suburbs, but it's still a mansion. You're still over consuming space. Did you say that?
Yes, sir, that's based on work as a member of the IPCC. Our research suggested that reducing our footprint in terms of total spatial footprint would have significant impacts on the decarbonization of the built environment.
And so you're saying that people should live in smaller houses because larger houses contribute to CO2 emissions?
100%, Senator.
Okay. Well,
I can't stand this.
recently, Tulane finished the Commons. It was 77,000 square feet, $55 million. Recently, Tulane finished the Gold Ring Woldenberg Business Complex, $35 million to complete, 98,000 square feet. Boy, that's a McMansion.
Let them cook.
Mustapher Hall, 23,000 square feet. Paul Hall, 36,000 square feet. Richardson Hall, 50,000 square feet. Housing redevelopment phase 1, 230,000 square feet at Tulane. Have you called upon Tulane to stop these buildings?
Sir, the habitable space within those units are roughly the size of the conference room back there and are indeed quite
But
small.
they contribute to, does
Everything that we do,
does
sir,
the
contributes.
Commons contribute more to climate change than a McMansion in Houston? You were pretty quick to criticize the people of Houston for wanting to build, you thought, McMansions, but you don't criticize your own university?
I don't find that to be equivocal comparison between.
Of course you don't.
Space meant for students who must reside at a university.
You don't see
and
the
those that-
hypocrisy in that?
It is your finding and interpretation, sir.
But you don't see the irony of the hypocrisy?
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
Okay. I kind of gathered that would be your answer.
Of course that's his answer, because he is unbound by the recognition of his own hypocrisy. He is the hypocrite. Folks, you see what's going on here. This is an epic takedown of a stuffed shirt academic who wants you to live by different rules than what he is currently living by. His school can do whatever they want, but other institutions should not take money from the fossil fuel industry. I love the way Senator Kennedy uses his droll humor, his dry wit to make his points. And this guy got taken down from, global influencer to just another hypocrite. This is what the show should really be about, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else in between. This show should be about mocking buffoons whenever we see them in the hopes that they'll correct their behavior at some point in the future. Let's hope Professor Kennan of Tulane University decides to, maybe rethink his pretentious sanctimony the next time he chooses to call out what he says is existential threats to climate. If he doesn't, I'm sure Senator Kennedy will be watching. Folks, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things. Please share the show with your friends. We're over 1,000 subscribers. We're heading towards 1,100. The show is growing so much faster than I thought it would. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All you unsubscribed folks that are watching the show, please subscribe to the show, because we want to share more of these funny stories with you in discussing all the shenanigans and all the buffoonery occurring this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.